Hello and thank you for joining us for Community Crossroads. I'm your host Karina Garcia, and here's a look at today's show. We first sit down with the director of the community outreach at the Humility Project, Kim Pickens. We also sit down with Brother Gary Moses, followed by the Bloomington football coach, and we also speak to the Bloomington San Jose Cemetery fundraiser. And joining us now is Kim Pickens. Kim, you're one of the strongest voices for the homeless community in our area. What can you tell me about the work that you do with these community members?
Well, the purpose of the Humility Project was to kind of fill in gaps. We noticed that, and it was over a decade ago almost, that I started doing this particular work where I didn't realize it had a name. So it's community health worker. So it's it's a pretty awesome job. But basically we noticed that people were having trouble with finding the right directions to go in to make sure that they were actually getting the help they need or getting to the places. Like they didn't have bus passes, they didn't have food cards. There was a lot of just like little things that kind of added up to what we became. And so the Humility Project was kind of born out of those gaps and filling in, and it's become a whole lot more since then. But like I said, we want to make sure that people have the tools they need to be successful, including identification documents like IDs and birth certificates.
And so what are the leading causes that contribute to the homeless population in our area?
In our area, it has a lot to do with economics. We have a lot of people who lose, when they lose jobs, they're like one paycheck away from being homeless, and that slide can very quickly turn you from someone who had a job and a roof over their head to someone who's either sleeping with relatives on a couch, or being in your car, or being in a hotel. So really a lot of the economic issues contribute first and foremost.
So affordable housing, and many of our residents are living paycheck to paycheck, so it's really easy to fall into that slope.
Very much so. It's way too easy.
And you were telling me earlier that you see around 30 community members a day. How is that workload? How do you balance your own life and then also trying to do the best you can to help?
Boundaries. Boundaries are a big deal. When you have a large caseload, and other people and agencies that do this work know what I mean. It's like when you have so many people that contact you every day that are in crisis, you have to have a way to basically shut that off at a certain point. It seems kind of harsh sometimes, and it doesn't always sit well with you, because you worry about people being out there on the street. But at a certain point in time, I have to remember I've got kids, and I've got to sleep, and I've got to recharge, because if I'm not any good, I can't do good for anybody else.
And now we are in South Texas. This brutal heat you can feel it as soon as you step outside. And for many people who don't have anywhere to go, tell me about the things that you see out there and how we can help.
Well, the thing is, I always tell people you can always carry around water and snacks with you. I mean, like I said, there's anybody who's outside, even if they're not homeless, if they're walking in this town, hand them a bottle of water, and I'm sure they'll be happy to take that from you. But, we do have several places that are public places that people can go. I know Salvation Army has a cooling center, and that's an important thing. Also, places like the library and public buildings that allow people to sit are really good places to just kind of get out of the heat. Midcoast is working on opening their daily center, so that won't be ready for a little while, but we look forward to having another place like that for people to go and sit and just get out of the heat and maybe be able to access some tools.
Absolutely. Well, Kim, thank you so much, and for everyone. And thank you for joining us. We are still joined with Kim Pickens. Kim, we were just talking about this new city ordinance that has been tackling Queen City. There's what the city calls a rise of crime in Queen City, but some are saying that it kind of criminalizes the population there. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I understand that everybody deserves to live in places where they feel safe and comfortable. The Queen City Park issue has more to do with people not having places to go than it does necessarily about crime. We have a population of folks that basically, because they can go and eat and they know they have a food source, they're not that far away from, and it's hot out there, so they're underneath the awnings there, they hang out. Whether or not they sleep there overnight is something different. I haven't watched anybody do that, but the thing is, if we never have places for people to go, if we never have affordable housing, then basically we were always going to have people that are out there looking for a somewhat safe space to be in.
And so we were talking about at the state level, there is anti-camping laws. And how does that play a role here at the local level with us?
Well, the thing is, we had a city ordinance about banning camping in certain areas, but allowing it for to not be in residential areas, but to be allowed in in more of a like business area with permission. And so, the state level camping ban basically truncates that. Like basically it doesn't matter what we have at the local level. We could have been okay with camping, but the state level camping ban, basically it outweighs that. And that creates a bigger problem for cities all across Texas, much less ours, where we have a lot of rural camping that goes on because people are trying to find a safe place to be, but that's hard. When you're not allowed to be anywhere, where do you go?
Right. So it's difficult. It kind of goes back to, we're going to criminalize you for, camping, but then it's a cycle because you can't really charge them. They have no mailing address, so there's really nowhere where that really goes. Correct?
Right. Well, and the thing is, a lot of times too, what we're seeing is we see a lot of people in jail for very minor things, for criminal trespass, for possession charges that they may have only gotten a ticket for, but because they miss court dates, they end up in jail because, like you said, if they don't have an address, you've got nowhere to send, a court date letter to and things like that. So, there's a lot of different things that start to contribute to people being criminalized just to be able to try to sleep or, try to find a place where they can sit quietly for a while.
And so moving forward, ideally, how would you like the city to move forward or the community to come out and help?
Well, the thing is, I think as a community, there are lots of things that happen, and I spend lots of times researching what works in different areas, and and granted, we are a different kind of a place, but why reinvent the wheel if you can take something that works somewhere else? So it would be really nice as a community for us to come together and look at a lot of the things that work in different communities and bring those to the table. Like I said, there are things that we could do that, and there's too many to name right now, but if people are interested in talking about these things, they can always send information to our website or our Facebook page. There are always ways to contact me through the Humility Project, through the Homeless Coalition. We have meetings every month where people from all across the community come and sit down and we talk about these things. But we have to do something that puts people first. Criminalization doesn't solve homelessness, it just makes it worse. Because once you have that criminal background, it's harder to get housing and jobs and things like that. So we have to find a different way to do that.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for the work you do out there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And for everyone at home watching, keep it here because we shift gears to back to school with Brother Gary Moses.